Alright, here we go for our second take.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
Because someone didn't obey the rules of a cinema.
Yeah, my phone is on. Sorry.
So, welcome to the first episode of Just Our Opinion.
JOO.
JOO, as we're deciding to call it, because we can.
Yeah, and it's our opinions, because it's right. Nothing else.
And I guess we don't, as this is the first episode, we don't really have any sort of rhythm or setup as to how we'll be doing this.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to do a few of these before we get around to the hang of it. But we'll be talking about The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
And the amazing trailers of Man of Steel, Pacific Rim, and Star Trek Into Darkness.
It so didn't sound like you just read that off a card.
I did not read it off a card. I was professional as an actor.
Oh no. Anyway, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, starting off, everyone will want to know, or not everyone, some people will want to know, is this as good as any of the parts of the Lord of the Rings movie? Because the Lord of the Rings is one movie. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh yeah.
And short answer, no.
It's not.
It's not as good. But it's not bad.
Still good, yeah.
It's just not as good. Which I was kind of expecting.
Could have been better. Although coming into the film with no expectations whatsoever kind of helped.
Oh, that was helped a lot. I had a good few expectations because I actually read the book.
I did too. I just forgot shit.
So we didn't go to the same screening.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. Which is good though, because now we get to hear actual opinions.
But actually, first off, the thing I didn't mention when we first recording is you were mentioning how you thought everything looked kind of fake. Not just the effects, but just everything. You kind of said.
Yeah, a lot of things are really fake. So like I know there are sets and everything, but like I know the sets are fake.
Sorry to shock everyone out there, but it wasn't actually real.
Sets are fake. Yeah, I know, but
where were you seated?
I was right in the middle, 3 rows up.
Oh, we actually ended up sitting in the first of the lower rows. Oh, yeah. So, you know when you're down there and when you go to see a 3D movie and there's kind of those moments where those weird colours that appear in the dark scenes?
Yeah.
We had a lot of that. It didn't annoy me too much, but I didn't think it looked very fake from down where I was looking at it. But it didn't look proper. I don't think the projector was properly aligned. It kind of had that slightly too image look. So the 3D didn't really work either.
I do have a comment about the grass. It did look a lot like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. That edible grass shit.
What, the Tim Burton one?
The Tim Burton one. It looked too green for my liking.
Okay.
Although it is.
And another thing, we'll get all the complaints out of the way first, because that's the best way to do it. Well, this isn't a complaint from me. This is a complaint from you. You thought it was too damn long.
It's not that it was long. It was just really slow to start.
Yeah, you actually said that. You said, "Oh, they spend so long in not Rivendell. Fuck it. The Shire."
Yeah.
I didn't think that. I was expecting to spend way longer there the way you built it off.
The dinner scene was just so long. It's like 40 minutes, and it could have been like sword fighting with Aragorn or something. I don't know.
That's a very 7-year-old way of looking
at
the plot. Oh, they were too much building, setting them up. I wanted them to just fight.
Not enough explosions. Mentality of Michael Bay.
But speaking of setting people up, they didn't do that quite well with everyone.
Yeah, I know.
And actually, to point out, I would only say the only real characters in this movie would be Gandalf and Bilbo, obviously.
Yeah.
Thorin. So they were the main 3. And then out of all the other dwarves, the only people who really got to do anything were Balin, Bonfur, Fili, and Keely.
I did like how you got to know some of the dwarves personally.
Yeah, I like that too, but I would like to got more of them. Like, for example, Bomber said nothing. Not a single word. He just fell over and ate food. He was just a big, long, fat joke.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't roll him down the hill.
Yeah, when they were escaping the coffin
town. It's like, just throw a boulder at them. No, just throw him in front. They'll do more damage.
And so that was very annoying. But, we still have to take account that there's still 2 more movies.
Oh, 2 more. There was only going to be 1 more.
No, 3 more. One coming out. The Decimation of Small will be coming out next December. And then There and Back Again will be coming out in
Why?
what is it, summer? Some sort of summertime.
So much.
Which is actually brings me on to another point I had. This not only adapts the Hobbit, but also takes things from other Tolkien works like the Silmarillion and all that shit that only hardcore uber Lord of the Rings lore whores read.
I wouldn't get any of that.
So there are a lot of moments in this. So there are a lot of moments in this that are not in The Hobbit and don't have anything to do with the main plot of The Hobbit.
Just dragging it on.
So there's this moment where Radagast the Brown goes to Dol Guldur and he encounters the Necromancer. And I remember reading The Hobbit, there was this one moment where Radagast shows up and he's all like, "Oh, we can't go over there. The Necromancer's there." And at the time I was like, "Who the hell's the Necromancer?" They don't ever mention him again. But in this, and probably in the Silmarillion, find out the Necromancer is actually Sauron. So there's this weird moment where he goes to Dol Guldur. He sees a weird, shadowy Sauron that looks like the weird shadow people from Shadows of the Colossus.
Yeah.
And then the Witch King of Angmar comes out of as a ghost, in his ghost form, comes out of a rock and attacks him. And then Radagast takes the Morgorn blade and
runs away.
So I didn't understand that at all. There was so much questions came up from that, like, how is the Witch King there? Why is he not in his Nazgul form? Blah, 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 blah. All stuff that I would have to go and read up to understand about. And even Brian, who, for people who don't know, is our uber Lord of the Rings friend,
massive.
He didn't know what that was all about or why that was happening. So I don't know if that will annoy some people who not only have not read The Hobbit, but obviously haven't read anything else.
I've read The Hobbit and haven't read anything else. They'd just be like, what the hell is going on?
But all that seemed unnecessary. And then there are like all these moments like in The Hobbit, Gandalf leaves a lot and you don't see what he's doing. But now in this we see, oh look, there he's having a really weird meeting with Sauron, Elrond and Galadriel.
When I saw Saruman, I was like, oh you bastard. I know what you're up to.
I'm sure everyone's thinking that. But like, first of all, that scene was quite funny because they were kind of treating him like a child.
Yeah.
They were just like, "Oh, Gandalf, what do you mean this necromancer?" And he's like, "Oh, but Radagast says." And like, "Oh, Radagast. Well, if Radagast jumped off a cliff, would you go do it with him?" And that whole scene was kind of all unnecessary. I mean, I can see why they would want to use these 3 movies to get as much of the Middle Earth lore onto the screen as possible, but it all seems very unnecessary. Another thing, coming back to we haven't yet talked about too much CGI in this movie.
No, way too much. They could have done much more work on it. Much more work.
That, or just use prosthetics and real
makeup.
Suppose,
but it's very hard to dress up a dog to look that big.
Okay, there are certain things I can obviously understand why they're CG, because they were CG in the trilogy anyway, like the trolls, the wogs,
I thought they looked a lot better in the Lord of the Rings films than they did.
Yeah, though I don't understand that. Well, maybe not the trolls, I don't know. But the wogs, I thought they looked way better in Two Towers and Return to the King than they did in this.
It's like the CG seemed like a completely other studio than the original one took on The Hobbit, saying, "Oh, if they'd done the Lord of the Rings, we must be able to do this."
But this brings up another weird thing me and Brian were talking about, how everything, even if it was in the last trilogy, looks completely different in this movie.
I know.
The goblins look different, the wogs look different, the trolls look different, and I don't get why. It kind of makes it a bit like they don't connect up as well. But I had a weird theory that for a good while it was going to be that Guillermo del Toro was directing this movie. And you know how Guillermo del Toro is with creatures and all that. I assume maybe he had done some pre-production work with Guillermo del Toro, and then when Peter Jackson finally came, or Guillermo del Toro went on this weird, like, I'm doing the Mountain of Madness, no, I'm doing a weird Pinocchio movie, no, I'm doing a Frankenstein movie, which he's still doing all those things. And Peter Jackson came in, I think they didn't like start over, they just used what they already had. That's what I would think happened.
Although he could explain that evolution in Middle Earth last 60 years to change orcs.
No, that just sounds stupid.
I know it sounds stupid. But someone's going to come out and say it.
evolution.
Evolution takes 60 years in the Middle Earth.
And like, coming back to the whole CG thing, there was one character in this I felt, okay, they did not need to be CG, but they were, and that was Azog, the pale orc.
Yeah.
He looked basically like a big CG rendered version of Kratos from God of War.
He did, yeah.
He could have easily just been a big guy in prosthetics, and they could have just used forced perspective to make him look bigger. Because there really wasn't a lot of scenes of him interacting with any of the dwarves. I mean, there were 2 scenes of him interacting with Thorin, but he didn't really do anything with him. He just kind of mauled at him with a mace, and then then Thorin fell over. They could have easily shot that with a real physical looking Azog and just made it look. They just could have done it better, alright? They didn't have to make another big CG goofy cartoon running around.
You know, I love the way that Bilbo kind of made Thorin look like a bitch. And it was like, I'm a short, like 3-foot person. I'm just going to tackle this massive orc.
Hey, try to avoid spoilers now for people.
Well, you've already told them what's happening.
I didn't directly tell him anything that happened.
Okay, but did I just say?
Actually, one thing, people who actually read The Hobbit will get confused because Azog is dead in The Hobbit. Mm-hmm. It's his son who's doing all this stuff that he's doing in this movie. Mm-hmm. But yet his son is also going to be in the next movie, so why they did that, I have no idea. Although there was, to bring back to the whole expanding the universe thing, there was a few things I liked how they did they introduced the movie with how Smaug took siege of Erebor, which took siege as stretching it. He more just kind of kicked open the door and walked right in, and everyone left. But
let's not fight at all and just
they all just ran off. But we didn't see much of Smaug in this. We saw a hand, a tail, a nostril, and an eye. So, and he didn't speak, which I was disappointed because I was looking forward to hearing Benedict Cumberbatch's awesome voice.
He's playing.
Oh God! You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yes, he's going to be playing Smaug in the next movie.
There was one thing I kept thinking was whenever Bilbo was walking around, I was like, oh, it's Watson No, Bilbo Baggins.
That's the thing.
I kept saying Watson.
It's going to be Watson and Sherlock playing a hobbit and a dragon.
I was thinking like when he had the walking stick, I was like, he doesn't need it. It's all psychological.
So what were we talking about? There's something I was also very disappointed with: the music. Now, Howard Shore's track for the original trilogy is one of the best film soundtracks ever.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many great, memorable tracks that you can listen to and associate with a moment from those films or a character. In this, there was one new memorable track, and they played it about 25 goddamn times throughout the whole movie.
There was a problem as well with some of the tracks. Like, they'll end as if like a movie's ending, like it'll slow down and
you were saying that as well. But
then you think the movie's going to end.
I think that was just because you were getting tired and wanted to go home. I didn't have that feeling.
I didn't go home at all yesterday, but you know.
You were like, oh, this movie's too long, so you start creating in your mind, they're tricking me.
No, it's just like the song would end and you go, oh, it seems like the movie's over. No, there's another scene, and then it's the same track again. And it fades out again. It's the exact same way. And you think, oh, the movie's over. Like, it fades to black. And then there's another scene. Yeah. The score wasn't that good at all. It was very disappointing.
It wasn't. But
that was the high expectation I had. The only one I had was the soundtrack.
There's 2 things, from, like, event and moment-wise in the movie that I want to talk about. One, this movie had the chase scene of the year for me. Yeah. When I'll just say Radagast and those rabbits.
Oh, I love the rabbits.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Because I won't spoil anymore. But God, those are some awesome rabbits.
I did love him so much.
And my favorite scene in the book, and probably my favorite scene in the movie, Riddles in the Dark. What did you think of Riddles in the Dark?
It was a bit short.
It was longer than you said that, but it was actually longer than I expected it to be like 4 minutes or something. Yeah. But it wasn't. It was at least like 9 or 10. But it was short in a way that I was disappointed because they skipped 2 riddles and they shortened one. So I was like, oh darn, oh well. And also it's kind of sad because now you realise that's the last moment we're ever going to see a new scene of Gollum.
I know. He did seem a lot healthier though. Good for him.
Yeah, I didn't get that because it's like they were saying when Mookie is like, oh, it's 60 years earlier, so we've made him slightly healthier. He's better skinned, his eyes are better, he's a bit more hair. And I was like, yeah, it's 60 years
earlier. Still got nothing.
Yeah, it's 60 years earlier, but he's 500 fucking years old. He's not gonna look that much younger 60 years before. He's not gonna age that much in 60 years if he didn't age that much in 500.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway, what are your overall thoughts on the movie?
It was good.
Oh, that's short and sweet. It was good.
The humor kept it going.
Yeah, like
if there was no humor in it,
obviously,
it would have been just awful.
Obviously, when doing a review, you shouldn't be comparing films to other films. That's what some people say. I say bullshit. You should. Comparing this to Lord of the Rings, this is a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah, but if you watch this before you watch Lord of the Rings, it'd be good because then you'll have sort of like the expectations of The Hobbit. Then you go, oh,
I guess that's true.
They're going to be just as good. In your mind, it'd be absolutely blown.
It's the whole. What order do you show the Star Wars saga in question?
Yeah, watch The Hobbit first.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I kind of would want people, if they were to watch them first time, to see The Lord of the Rings first.
Yeah, that's because it came out first. But yeah, I would recommend when it comes out on
because it's better.
Blu-ray or whatever is available at the time.
But as I was saying, it makes sense that it's not as gritty or not as serious as Lord of the Rings because
not very dark times.
No, I'm just because The Hobbit is a children's book.
Yeah,
that's what it was written as, and then Lord of the Rings was written like 20 years later. And I guess the intention, obviously, with Lord of the Rings was to make it not same audience, and they're grown up. So it was he just wanted to tell a different book. But they're just two different types of books. One's more for adults and teens, and one is for children or for adults. I'm not saying you can't read The Hobbit if you're like above the age of 10, but it is more of a lighter read and a simpler story. I mean, come on, we have to go get a dragon out of our house. Yeah, that's the complexity of the story, really. I mean, this movie, they're just making it more complex by shoving in all this Silmarillion stuff that they don't really need. But overall, yeah, I thought it was really good. I was expecting it to be better. And it certainly, I don't know, would it make like my top 5 movies this year? Probably, maybe. I'd say it would be on the cusp of it.
I would give it maybe 3.5, 3 3/4. I don't know.
What, out of 5?
Out of 5, yeah.
I don't do 5. I do out of 10.
Out of 10, no, yeah. So 75, 80 maybe.
That's not out of 10 either.
I don't care.
I would.
Out of 100%.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that low of a film. It did disappoint me. I was expecting this to either be like that. It could have had the potential to be a 10 out of 10. It
could have, yeah. But
just because the Lord of the Rings movies are all 10 out of 10. But I would more give it a 9 or an 8.5.
Yeah.
I'll go with a 9. Yeah. I've probably changed my mind when I've seen it a few times, but hey, that's what happens. So
we should move on to the trailers.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, yeah. So what one will we start with?
I would like to start with Man of Steel because I will take the longest. Because I got the most notes on it. I just wanted to say at the start, when he's just in the water, I was like, and I don't know whether he's naked or not.
Yeah, I thought it looked like
does he not get cold? Because it's never really explained. Does Superman get cold?
That's what you were asking. This is all this movie like this trailer. All it has ever all it has done. Instead of people talking about is this going to be a good or bad movie, people are just questioning things about Superman. You're saying does Superman get cold? Everyone else was saying how does Superman shave?
Superman shaves with a mirror and his heat vision. I saw it in a movie before and it was cool.
Really?
Yeah.
That's got to be risky.
Yeah, it is risky. Yeah, there was one time when he lasered into his head and destroyed a microchip inside his brain. By just looking in a mirror and reflection of the... I know, it's weird. It was awesome though.
There, riddle solved, everyone. He uses a mirror and his laser. Actually, speaking of the opening, like...
Or he stands in a room with slight bits of kryptonite and he shaves with a normal...
Yeah, that's what someone in that said. They said he uses the kryptonite probe from Gillette.
Gillette wouldn't work at all because it's the best a man can get, but Superman's not man, he's alien. So, spoiler, sorry.
So enough about talking about how does Superman shave or if he gets cold. I imagine he can feel cold and heat, but I imagine it doesn't like hurt him.
Yeah, I suppose. He's just like, oh.
Because in the trailer he is on fire.
Yeah, I suppose.
He doesn't seem bothered by it.
He doesn't seem very angry.
But anyway, yeah, the trailer is very tonally different to what you'd expect from a Superman trailer. And also, It freaks me out. It kind of freaks me out because you're so used to it, seeing a Superman thing that doesn't have the John Williams theme.
I know.
You know, you're expecting. You're like, oh, a Superman trailer. It's gonna go da 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 da.
I know.
But it didn't.
Still haven't used any of the score from the movie that would come out because this is a Gladiator soundtrack that was on it.
Yeah, Gladiator.
Like
Russell Crowe.
I know. They should just ask Russell Crowe and he goes, alright, so I'll give you the fucking track and you fight me.
But I stopped taking my pen. But yeah, I'm just gonna say this. It was a cool trailer.
Very.
It didn't really tell us anything about the plot.
Still though, blew my fucking mind.
Okay, yeah.
I did like the dialogue where young Clark is like, oh, the world's too big, and then his mum just says, think of it as a small island. And it was like, then I automatically thought of him throwing little Krypton at the end of Superman Returns into space. And I was like, yes, Clark does not like small things. I do like I think the casting of Henry Cavill is just perfect. Just to say, I may have said it many times before, he looks like Superman.
Yes, he does.
You just look at his face. It's Superman.
Okay, well, you brought up casting. Let's talk about other casting. Okay, I want to talk Russell Crowe as
I
Jor-El.
haven't seen much of him though.
We saw him, but I don't think the most important thing about Jor-El is how he looks. I think it's his voice.
Yeah, it's dialogue. I did like his voice though in the first trailers.
But it sounds, but I preferred it in the original Superman movies. It had that much more Marlon Brando's deep, godlike voice. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll just do it in a different way, and I'll just be happy with it.
And who's playing Clark's dad again? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, the character. Mr. Kent, Kent Senior.
Yeah, they're doing something.
He seems like a bit of a dick.
Yeah, they're going with
in the comics, he's like Clark, show your abilities, just hide yourself. And he's like, now he's just like, don't ever show yourself to public.
This is really, well, I guess that's a good thing. They're trying something different.
I do like how even his father's afraid of him. You can see it in like his voice. He's just like, I don't want you to hurt anyone.
Which could be, that's all stuff that could
Which
be
is
very
probably the plot of the film.
Actually, I don't understand. Okay, there's a lot of shots of Clark or Superman or whatever in like a weird fishing town.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm wondering, is Smallville a fishing town now?
Well, clearly it still has a farm.
It's somewhere in Kansas.
Yeah, there's no fish. There's no fishing towns in Kansas.
Landlocked. I don't understand.
I don't know. Like, maybe it's not. Maybe
nice
maybe the bit with the bus, it could be going into a lake or whatever. You don't really get a good shot of it.
But it's raining. Kansas is like never rains, as far as I know. I think.
I'd imagine it does. Yeah. I don't know.
But
I would imagine it. So.
Well, I did laugh though when I saw Lawrence Fishburne running away from the building falling down, and I just thought, oh, Morpheus is still trapped in the Matrix. He took the wrong pill. It's like, because it's not the real world, because Superman is real. He's still stuck in the Matrix. And Superman's a program created by the machines.
Who's playing Zod again?
What's his name? Oh God, I cannot remember. I don't like the costume. It looks like a massive turtleneck.
Yeah, what's weird is though, didn't they say, or it's been seen that he's wearing a performance capture suit.
Yeah, he is.
That his suit's supposed to be all CG.
Didn't look CG.
It didn't look CG. It just looked like a coat.
Looked like he carved a shape.
Maybe it changes, which is another thing people have noticed. The S on Superman's chest, it keeps changing between a yellow to a just blue background.
I don't mind. I love it. I like the new logo.
I didn't say it was bad. I'm just saying it's interesting that it changes colours.
I'm just really excited about this film because, it's awesome.
Okay, one thing I wanted to kind of give me a show of, but they didn't. They'll probably do that in the third trailer, is Amy Adams as Lois Lane.
Yeah, all he did was hold her hand.
All he did was hold her hand. She just looked at him, giving that she kind of looked like she was giving the same performance she had in the Muppets.
Oh, yeah.
She had that weird, child person face.
Like, just wait 5 minutes, she'll break into song.
Yeah. But really, now when you boil it down to it, not really much you could say about the Superman trailer. It was artsy.
Awesome.
It shows us that there may be a lot of.
Oh, the flying! Oh, Jesus! So awesome.
Okay, I have to say the takeoff, best Superman takeoff they've ever had.
Yeah, just the cracking of the ice. My God.
My favorite part was before he took off, and all the bits of
everything
snow
started
starts to
moving.
rise around him. And I was like, yeah, of course. Why have I never done that before? But
They did it in Smallville, but it more like looked like invisible donuts expanding from his legs.
did they? I didn't watch
it
Smallville.
did. It looked weird.
I didn't watch Smallville because I thought it was crap.
It was good.
No,
It was good.
no, it wasn't that good.
It was.
But yeah. So what's weird is this movie is not going to be very origin story. They've said it's not going to be very origin story-ish. Like it's just going to be in it like, oh, he's Superman, but we'll have. But yet there seems to be a ton of origin story stuff in all the trailers.
Yeah,
Like
they're just
him as a
gonna
kid,
chuck it all at you in
him
the first 5 minutes.
with a big beard, with a Galifianakis beard, going around fishing. I don't know.
Maybe it's just they're just going to throw it in the first 10 minutes. Just to
That looks like a
get
lot
it
to
out, 'cause
squeeze in the first-
everyone knows the origin of Superman,
Yeah.
or it could be just flashbacks.
Everyone knows
like,
the origin of Spider-Man, but they still did it.
it could just be
And then-
flashbacks. Let's say he gets to the Fortress of Solitude and he starts looking through the crystals and stuff, and
Yeah.
he learns of his origins. Then it's just like a montage bit of him with his eyes wide open, mouth jaw drop, going, "Oh my god!" And then like Russell Crowe going, "Right, you're from a planet called Krypton, mate."
It blew up. So I think now we'll move on to.
I'm ready for it anyway. Is the world ready?
If anyone who actually saw the trailer would actually understand what we're laughing at. Anyone who didn't.
So next, Pacific Rim.
Oh, yeah, we have a bit of conflicting
Yeah,
opinions on this movie. I think, it's a new Guillermo del Toro movie, which first off makes me think it's a must see. It'll probably be brilliant. It's
I'm
Guillermo
still
del
going to
Toro.
see it. Like,
Your thought is, it's Power Rangers.
yeah, it's just Power Rangers. Like, I was like the synopsis of the film. You know, creatures from like many years ago, or some aliens or some crap.
They're like based
attacking
on
the
the
city.
deep ones of Lovecraftian lore.
Yeah. And
Just shrug that off. I have
And
to
then-
explain what
and then,
that.
like-
I have to explain what that is, which basically is like beings from a dimensional another plane of existence, and the gateway to their existence is beneath the sea.
yeah, it just
So these giant kaiju, which is a Japanese giant monster type things, come out of the ground and start fucking shit up, as giant monsters do, and somehow the governments of the world or whatever build giant
Train
robots,
robots. Yeah.
driven by two pilots wearing like suits, which I don't know how that's supposed to work. And like, if anyone who hasn't seen the trailer or knows anything about it will just say this sounds stupid, and it does.
but it looks good though.
It looks interesting. It doesn't look great, but the only thing that really makes me think I must see this is it's a Guillermo del Toro movie, and it's very different to any Guillermo del Toro movie that he's done before. It's
You wouldn't
fun.
expect him to do it.
It's much like more blockbustery.
You'd expect some people like Michael Bay to do it.
Well, if he had done it,
Awful. Just with Optimus Prime and fighting giant Godzilla. Shit. And
yeah,
then the Teenage Mutant Alien Turtles. They're mutant turtles, not alien turtles.
Michael Bay and Rowan Emmerich
God,
team
that was
up to do
cancelled.
Transformers versus 1998 American Godzilla.
They lose.
Yeah,
They
probably,
lose so
they probably would. But yeah, really, the trailer
Not really
doesn't
much to
really
talk
reveal
about it.
much of a plot.
The other trailers I liked, you know, the teaser ones.
Oh,
where it's just news reports.
the
and people just screaming.
viral.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was really
did
good.
like that. I
Like
was
what they did
wow.
for Cloverfield. Now, one thing, Daikaiju, the genre of giant monsters, is not big at all in the Western world.
Yeah, I know.
How, like, naming off the top of your head, how many of them have there been? Like, I could only probably name two. There's Godzilla,
Yeah.
1998, and Cloverfield.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I'm always looking forward that there might a new kaiju film because there's just not a lot of them.
Not enough.
I'd rather them just make 5 new shitty kaiju films than make another, I don't know, zombie movie or something.
Yeah, but
like,
the good thing about this is coming out next year. And then the year after that,
yeah, that's good, is it?
there's Godzilla. So,
Oh yes, that I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to, because I haven't seen the teaser for it, but I've heard a lot about
there's
the
a lot
teaser,
of teaser posters.
and
I
it just
do
sounds
like the shape of him.
it just sounds cool.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
No one here to fuck it up this time.
Well, probably could be. You never know. But anyway, that's all we really can say about. Oh, actually, one more comment. The name is stupid.
Pacific Rim.
It doesn't sound like a catchy title. what is it even? Like, is it just referring to that region of the world?
Sounds like some sort of weird porno.
It does.
Rim.
Pacific Rim. Like, yeah, they need to. It's too late now. I would have told them earlier on to change the title, but they've already released the trailer and everything. Actually, no, they could. I mean, they changed Jack the Giant Killer to Jack the Giant Slayer.
Yeah. What could they change the name to? Giant robots versus giant monsters, or
Kaiju Combat? I don't know.
Kaiju Combat.
Go Guillermo Rangers or something.
Yes.
No.
Power Rangers the movie.
So
Del Toro's tribute.
that's
the
all.
Series.
That's all I think we can really say about that trailer. I will have to see more trailers of it. I'm looking forward to it. I always like to see Guillermo del Toro movies. I prefer his smaller movies than his bigger movies, like Hellboy. Like, I like Hellboy, but I don't like it as much as Pan's Labyrinth and Devil's Backbone and all those Spanish movies he's done.
Should we move on to Star Trek?
Which, this, in my opinion, was the best of the new trailers.
Awesome.
Now, okay.
So good.
To all the Trekkies out there that all go.
Okay, let me just first, right? I had this conversation with a Trekkie a few weeks ago, and he was saying he doesn't like the new Star Trek film, and my back to that was just because other people like the franchise now, doesn't mean that they shouldn't. Like, it's not yours to keep.
That is a thing. There are these
spread it on.
There are types of people out there, fans, who when something, we'll refer to them as hipster fans. When something they love becomes really big, they then start to hate that fact, which I don't understand.
Why can't they be like Breaking Bad fans or Game of Thrones fans who try and get everybody to watch it because they are good shows?
Yeah.
And the Star Trek original series is good.
I mean, I do the same.
Don't watch it, you ruin it.
I do the same thing with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
When I find out there are people who don't like Buffy, I just go like, what's wrong with you? You need to watch it.
I'm never friends with you.
You need no, I'm friends with loads of people that don't like Buffy, but I'm friends with loads of people who do, and I'm like, no, everyone must be converted. So, no, Stephen, what would you like to sum up this trailer? What happens in this trailer?
There's lots of explosions.
Yeah, there's lots of lens flare.
Lens flare. I've never seen that before in an Abrams film. No. Or Abrams in general.
So, the big thing about this movie that everyone's been questioning since before it was even announced they were doing this movie. Who is the villain? Everyone was like, oh, they're going to do Khan. Oh, it's Khan. Then there was then they started making the movie. And these rumors came out that Khan was in it. And I was like, they're just rumors.
Yeah. Then
there was a picture of Benedict Cumberbatch who didn't look anything like Khan. And people were like, oh, he looks like Khan.
There is a thing, there's one of the ex-captains of the Enterprise, who people think it is actually an incarnation of Khan, which I was looking through, like, the internet and stuff.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Well, the theory a lot of people are now going with now, which isn't really a theory, Carl Urban, Carl Urban.
Yes, Mr. Dread.
Mr. Dread himself teased he was asked about the villain, or he was asked about the movie or whatever, and he just said along the lines of, oh, I'm sure Gary will be great in the movie. And then everyone was like, Gary? And then everyone
Mitchell, isn't it?
Gary Mitchell is a character from the original series who
went crazy,
got psychic superpowers by going through the Great Barrier, and a weird Star Trek-y science fiction-y thing. And
I assume he's just messing with everyone's head, because that's like.
Well, he can do that. He also has like telekinesis and.
Wouldn't spoil it though.
All that stuff. So I actually think that makes sense, because Benedict Cumberbatch kind of looks like him. He's got the same coloured hair.
Is an amazing actor.
And
to say.
Another thing that I'm
excited for him.
They show a new character. Who I forget who she's played by. It's not really important. Who cares? You'll look it up if you want to know. He has blonde hair.
You know who it is if you watch the original series.
Who do you think it is?
Remember. It's that blonde girl that Kirk's always fucking friend zone. She's like the money penny of the Star Trek universe.
I don't know. I'm thinking it could be. I don't think it would be her, because I have two people in mind as to who this woman could be. One, it could be Dr. Carl Marcus. Do you remember who that is?
Yes. I think.
Who do you think that is?
She's the other doctor that works on the Enterprise at Bones. The hot doctor.
Yeah, I think she was. But I mainly remember her from Wrath of Khan.
She was in the series, I think.
I think she was as well, but which is obviously why they brought her back to Wrath of Khan. Yeah, me neither. But she plays the mother of Kirk's son. So I'm thinking,
Fair
she's
point.
kind of a significant female in Kirk's history.
And Kirk's son turns out to be Jean-Luc Picard. That would be
No,
amazing.
that did not happen.
I know, hundreds and hundreds
But,
of years apart.
but the other person I think, and this is the person I think it more likely is, in the episode Gary Mitchell was in, there was another doctor called Dr. Elizabeth Denner. I think it's her. Just plain and simple. Because if they're going with the Gary Mitchell plot, it would make sense to have a character from it. And, everything will be a bit different because this is an alternate timeline. You're like, what? But if Kirk doesn't get with your one, then his son is never born. It's like, well, yeah, this is a different timeline. His son might not ever be born.
It's a parallel universe.
You never know. In this universe, a lot of the TNG characters might never be born.
She could just be a new character because it's a parallel universe. Although that wouldn't be a smart thing to do. But
no, she wouldn't be parallel because she's about the same age as them.
Yeah, I suppose, maybe.
I know, maybe if she's slightly younger, she could be a new character, but if she's the same age or older, she would have to be a character that already existed. Or she could just be a character that was already there. Yeah, time travel, people, it's confusing.
I am still Quinto as Spock.
Quinto,
Straight
just
off,
my second name.
straight off. Like when I saw the trailer for first time, I was like, "Oh my god, he's perfect!" Like,
He is.
he played Sylar in like Heroes and is basically the same character without any guilt and doesn't kill people.
But Spock, when they were doing the new one, the only one I really cared about them getting exactly right was Spock.
Yeah,
Because let's say he's the poster child of Star Trek.
yeah,
If you look at the whole, it's kind of sad really. You look at all the Star Trek series and expanded series they've had, like Voyager, blah 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 blah. Everyone in those series is all dead by the time it comes to old Spock, and he comes back in time, and he's the only remaining character of every character. Although Data might still be alive, I don't know, because he's a robot, but whatever. And Leonard Nimoy and Spock is the symbol. It is Star Trek.
yeah.
So it was cool that they had him come in to kind of hand the reins over to not just the new Spock, but the new cast and the new team and all that jazz and blah blah blah. So my point is, I'm rambling, but my point is that Quinto was great,
Yeah.
and that first movie mainly focused on him and his relationship with Kirk. So that was the crux of that whole movie, and the villain kind of played he was there, but he wasn't really all that integral
He was
emotionally to the
He
plot.
was, alright guys, I'll just sit down while you sort things out.
He's just, I'm mad because I was in that crap
so
Hulk
angry.
movie.
I'm so angry.
Uh,
I kind of feel so unprepared on the notes of Star Trek. Only have, it's awesome.
well, but there wasn't
all.
really much. There was a lot of just reaction shots.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this trailer was just people looking at shit.
Yeah,
It was just like,
going into the sea.
What's that
Buildings
person looking
blowing
at?
up.
What's that person looking at? They're all looking at things. But actually, obviously, the trailer implies that okay, as I was saying, the crux of the last movie was Kirk and Spock.
Yeah,
Which even in that trailer, for that movie, they set that up. Because they were always like, all that line about, Spock, you'll always be a child of two worlds and blah, blah, blah. This trailer is really emphasizing that the focus of this film will be Benedict Cumberbatch.
yeah, and Kirk.
He narrates the trailer. He's in most of the shots.
Oh, those
It's
awesome
going to be
shots.
mainly about him. But if I was to talk about one final thing, which you saw the Japanese trailer.
Yeah, I did. Why did they get more?
I don't understand that either. I was like, why do they get more?
It's unfair.
So, for people who haven't seen, or you can look it up if you want, the trailer we got, the rest of the world got, is about like 1 minute and 6 seconds long.
Yeah,
And the Japanese trailer has about, if even 10 seconds of extra footage.
but those 10
Those 10 seconds. Alright, look, I'm going to be spoilers here, but if you haven't seen Wrath of Khan by now, you probably didn't have much interest in seeing it to begin
Go
with.
see it.
Or we could just tell you where to jump to if you don't want it spoiled. But anyway, in Wrath of Khan, I forget exactly how it happens, but in the battle between the Enterprise and the ship Khan has, what's it called? The something.
Well, it's not the Nebuchadnezzar anyway.
I was going to say the Nebuchadnezzar. I was going to say, no way, that's from the Matrix. Something that sounds like the Nebuchadnezzar. the Enterprise gets damaged, and its like reactor starts leaking radiation, and then there's this room where the reactor is in. It's behind a glass panel, and Spock decides, I'm gonna go in there and stop the reaction to save everyone on the ship. And because he's a Vulcan, the radiation will kill him, but it'll take longer to kill him than it will a human.
Yeah.
So he goes in there, the battle's over, and then it ends up like Kirk comes down to where he is, and he's on the other side of this glass, and he's dying. And then they have this really famous moment where Spock places his Vulcan salute hand against Kirk's regular human pose hand, and he dies and gives a speech about the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. But in the Japanese trailer for Star Trek Into the Darkness, we see Kirk. Benedict Cumberbatch says, "Is there anything you would not do to save your family?" Which could be another thing. He's either referring to that he will actually be having his son, but I more think he's referring to the crew as his family.
Yeah.
More, that's what I would be thinking. But it shows Kirk with a glass panel in front of him. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, and it started looking at me, it's like, what's all this? And then it shows a shot of just the hands against the panel. But the shot shows that Kirk is in the I'm really weakened position, and Spock is in the standing up, I'm fine position.
Switching places.
So, which this was actually, to bring back to another thing, this was another thing that people went, see, this is happening. So Khan is in the movie. And I'm like, just because the reactor got damaged, it does not mean it was Khan. Khan's not the only villain that can damage reactors.
Yeah.
But this either implies it could be a red herring. There could be nothing going on. And it's just to make people think, oh my god, it's like the thing, Kirk's gonna die.
Maybe there is an actual reactor leak and you're like, oh, might as well go down and check it out. And it has nothing to do with the actual plot of the film.
But it also suggests, which is the main thing people are all excited about, that
nothing.
Kirk could die.
Yeah.
Which, even at... Okay. Another spoiler for people who didn't know. Spock dies in Wrath of Khan. And at the time, that was like thinking, this is the end of Spock's storyline. Yeah. But then, of course, it being a franchise, the studio was like, nah, bring him back. So even... It's not even a title. It's not even a spoiler. The title of the next film is called Search for Spock. So it obviously suggests...
He wasn't exactly lost. He was buried 6 feet under.
So there's Star Trek 3. Not a good movie. They do this weird Star Trek science stuff where like Spock puts his mind in McCoy or Bones' body. Sort of like a Harry Potter Horcrux type thing. And this old weird shit. They get a weird child Spock. And the child Spock like needs to get its mind back, and then it grows up and no, it's all stupid. But anyway, I could have, as stupid as that was, I could have bought into it because Spock's Vulcan, he can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
If they kill Kirk, which I highly doubt they do,
for him,
I don't see them being able to bring him back without it being completely stupid, because he's human.
The captain of the Enterprise in the first film is in the cast for the new film.
Oh, Pike?
Pike.
Which interesting
Either
fact,
he's head of the
he
council
is the captain,
or he could be the new captain.
Which interesting
of the next.
what they did, because here's another thing for all you Star Trek, I hate the new Star Trek movie people. There's a lot of good geeky Star Trek-y stuff in it that refers to the old series. Like, Captain Pike is actually the captain of the Enterprise in the very first pilot episode of the original series.
Yeah.
And the only reason, why am I blanking on his name? William Shatner got the role of Kirk, or even got to be captain, is because there was like a feud with the guy who played Pike, and he left the show. So, speaking of alternate timelines, somewhere out there, there's a parallel version of our universe where there's Captain Kirk is not famous, and it's Captain Pike, which doesn't sound as cool. Just to us, though, because so
to end really to talk about the trailer again, they showed absolutely nothing to do with the plot. Just the characters.
It is a J.J. Abrams movie.
I know.
Which I like. I don't like...
Which they did with all the other trailers as well we talked about. Which is good. I prefer that.
Yeah, I like that more as well.
I prefer not knowing about anything, just have the hype.
Yeah. Well, you could still be disappointed, but still you won't have anything. You won't be spoiled on anything.
Yeah, I
which is
suppose.
good. They showed too much these days, which is something I loved about Super 8, which I thought was an okay, good film. I didn't think it was as good as it was going to be. They didn't show the monster once in any of the trailers for
I
it.
know. Then they showed
Same
it.
with Cloverfield. Yeah,
It
they showed it, and it wasn't very
yeah.
impressive looking. I thought it was going to look a bit scarier. It looked like a Batarian from Mass Effect.
Wait, can we just mention the Cloverfield? People who think that is a bad film,
They should go hang themselves.
yeah, you're stupid. Just see a doctor about that.
That's our opinion of the day.
That is our
If you
opinion.
take anything away from
Buy
all
that
of
this weekend and
this
watch it.
podcast, is that if you think Cloverfield is bad, you're stupid.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess we don't have anything further to say.
That's it.
you
That's
sound
it for,
poop. You sound poop like you were after the Hobbit. You're like, God, I'm done. I'm ready.
I'm done.
So, few comments on this being our first episode. I will assume. I don't know who people we don't know will. Hey, noise. I will
Yeah.
assume people who don't know us who will listen to this, if they'll give it a chance or not, they'll probably just say,
They'll
fuck
think-
these dweebs. I don't
They
care about
think
their
us
thoughts."
we're pretentious douchebags, but we're not.
And people who
Trust
do
us.
know us, they'll say, fuck it, I don't care about their thought. I don't care about it when I'm talking about them in person. They might skim through this. But we'll force them to try and
Yeah,
promote
we'll
it anyway.
force you to watch it.
So,
Listen.
to close off, we probably won't, our next episode probably won't be till after Christmas because
Yeah, seeing there's nothing
we
coming out.
won't see anything between here and then.
I'll probably see Jack Reacher, just because
I have
the
no
book
interest.
was good.
I have no
The
interest.
book was good. Sorry, it was.
I don't know. I didn't read the book, and the trailer didn't look that good to me. I have no interest in seeing
Tom Cruise is too short to play the character. Tom Cruise is 5'4", I think, and Jack Reacher is 6'5".
it. Well, it isn't that bad. I mean, they got Tyler Perry to play Alex Cross.
Yeah, I suppose. No,
They got Medea,
Medea.
to play. Actually, speaking of, we have to go back to Star Trek. So you know, Medea,
Yeah.
Tyler Perry is the head of the Federation.
Yeah, I know. I was
in his
so
new film.
surprised. to
I
see
so want the next. I want a Star Trek. The third Star Trek movie has to be an alternate version of him, Medea, from the mirror world.
that. The Wrath of Medea.
From the mirror world.
Medea.
You know, where everyone's evil. We
Yeah.
get an evil Medea comes in and takes over a Federation ship, goes to war with Kirk, and it'll just be called Medea Goes Star Trekking.
So bad.
God. She forms an alliance with the Klingons.
If only we made
They
sequels
mistake
in
it.
the 80s.
Yeah, that's if I was given the Star Trek franchise, that's what
Before-
I would do.
Before we finish, I think we should say our thoughts on the film Argo,
Why?
the unsung hero.
We'll do that in our
Here.
top 10.
Yeah, I suppose.
As I was going to say, but say what we have coming up. So me and Steven are big Whovians, which people don't
Yes.
know. That's a Doctor Who fan.
Herb,
And on
herb.
Christmas,
There's
get
a Doctor Who.
there's
special.
a Doctor Who special. So we'll watch that on Christmas, and then after that, we'll do a podcast about our thoughts on this season so far,
And
where the season's going, the whole arc in general, blah blah blah. Then after that, we'll do another episode where we'll do our top 10 movies of this year
2012
and our top 10 most anticipated movies of next year,
2013, yeah.
which is also looking up to be a great year for
Which is
blockbusters.
basically anything we said today, really. Besides,
Yeah,
Pacific
well, okay,
Rim, 'cause
other
we're not
things that had-
excited about it.
Trailers, yeah. So that's it, I guess.
Yeah,
Bye. Thanks for
Goodbye.
watching. Hope you liked. You
Listening.
may not have. You may have hated it.
yeah. Well, we liked it, so go.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
That's another one of our opinions. We liked it, so
Yeah.
fuck your thoughts.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Put that on the quote.